Well, hey, Shiny Crafty People, Tim Totten here, and welcome back to the channel. In fact, welcome to my backyard. I bought these really beautiful chairs, 3 of them, and they're metal, and they have beautiful fabric cushions, and I bought them at a resale place for like 50 bucks a piece, which is super cheap. I had 3 of them, and I bought then some covers. Rather than making them myself, I bought some covers at a discount store, and it was probably a mistake because as you can see, they're ripping. In fact, look at this back corner. They're very brittle and they're tearing. So I needed to do something different. So join me today because I'm going to show you how you can make a nice pretty cover in a very sturdy material. Let's go to my workshop and I'll show you how to do it. So I've got a chair that sort of looks like this, and I've got to figure out how do I want to cover it. Now you could do just a big box that would go over it, but it would droop in the middle. So in fact, what I want to do is get measurements of the back height of the chair. And then I want to get a measurement of sort of what the front height's going to be. I'll need that measurement and this measurement. And obviously I'll need to know how wide it is. And then I'll also want to know how deep it is. And then that'll allow me to make a cover that will really meet at the top here and then go down to the cover would and stop at this point over the chair. So it would be an angled cover all the way around. And I like that type. So from the side, let me show you what it looks like from the side. Here's my chair, right? I showed you the chair before. And then I'm going to basically take the cover, we'll go over the top and go down, go off the side. But instead of coming up and being a big square all the way over, it'll reach to this point and then angle to the top. And that'll help that a little bit, support it, and it won't be this big, just big square. So I've got to figure out what those sizes are. So I will measure at the chair, and then I'll come back and show you what these are. So I started to write this down before I actually saw you. I measured the chair. It's about 24 inches wide. So I've added 3 inches just to make it easier to bounce. And so I have 27 across the width. And it's about 30 inches deep, so I went to 33. I added 3 inches. That's just to give me some play as I use it either way. Now, from top to bottom, the chair is from here to here is about to the top of the armrest is about 20 inches. But I don't necessarily have to have it hit all the way to the ground, but I am going to go 20 on there just so it gets close. And then, of course, I'll have to turn the bottom edge. So we'll lose a little bit, but I don't really necessarily want it to hit the ground completely. And on the other side, it was about 36 to the top here, and I'm just going to put 36 in there rather than doing a lot larger. And so, actually, you know what? I'm going to go 37. 37. So what that brings me to is on the side here, I'm going to have a piece that's 20 by 33 by 37. So my shape will be like this. And I'm going to give a little bit of a rounded at the top. It'll be 37 inches tall by 33 inches this way, and this front will be 20. And then that will make this shape whatever it is between those 2 measurements. So then I'm going to need a front piece here that'll go up, down, and back. So I'll need two of these, one for each side, right? One for this side and one for the other side. And then on a piece that'll go the top, turn, and come down on the back. So that's going to be 20 plus the 37 in the back plus whatever this measurement is across the top. So when I go to make another piece, after I've cut the middle one, I will measure, after I've cut this one, I'll measure what this distance is. And then it'll be 20 plus whatever that distance is plus 37 to go back down to the back. All right, let's get 2 of these pieces cut out, and then I can come back and do the other. So real quick, I want to actually show you how I could figure this out if I was going to make this a triangle. So let's come back down here and I'll show you what I mean. Since I know this is basically this shape, it is literally a rectangle with a triangle on top. And I know that the 2 of these together are 37 inches, and this one is 20 inches, which means this is 17. And I know it's 33 inches wide. So I could use math. I could use the Pythagorean theorem, which says a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And I could go a squared, which is 33 squared, plus b squared, which is 17 squared, equals c squared. And when I do that math, I get roughly 37 inches. That's how this is going to be. But I'll still measure it out when we cut it, because I don't want to just show you math. I also want to show you other ways. So now actually let's go cut. Now, I'm using a nylon packcloth material, and this is 420 denier nylon. It's super stable, great in outside where it might get wet. The one side has a nice shiny side. I buy this from a huge company because we buy thousands of yards at a time, but you can buy it from outdoor fabric stores. And in fact, one of the ones that's my favorite is Outdoor Wilderness Fabrics, which is owfinc.com, and I'll put a link in the description below. I buy a lot of my early stuff from them because I needed small quantities before we really started making it big stuff that we bought a lot of it. So you should check them out. You can buy yards of this if you need it for this type of thing. I'm gonna go ahead and measure out what I need. Now this stuff is 60 inches wide, so in fact, because I know I need 27-inch wide pieces, I can get both sides out of this material. And I'm going to use like a chalk pencil or something to make my mark since it's on black. I'm going to let you know one other cool secret. Because I have this nice big cutting table, I also use a big metal, like almost like a contractor's ruler. And I buy these at Lowe's for like less than 20 bucks. And I'm just going to refer to my measurements to make sure that what I'm making are these is where I'm going to get my 227s out of here, this length. So right now I'm going to go ahead and cut these parts. And I'm going to cut them literally just like this across the piece because I'm going to get that 33 instead of the 37 inch. You know, one of the awesome things about working with hiring people who are super smart is that one of my employees came up with this idea. I used to use weights to hold down the cutting implements when I was cutting fabric. And she one day said to me, well, if you're gonna put like a 5-pound weight to hold this down, what if we just had clamps and we could clamp them to the table? And it was a game changer for our business. All right, I just had to hunt down a rotary cutter, and I have clamped the metal ruler in place so I can just cut straight across where the marks are. There's one of the two, and I will unclamp and do the other. Now, if you don't have a gigantic table like that, it's okay. You can lay something out on maybe like a linoleum floor and mark it. Don't cut it on your linoleum floor, of course, but you could mark it on your floor and then take it and draw all your lines and then cut with a pair of scissors if you need to. I'm just very lucky that I happen to have a big table like this. So I've cut both of those pieces now, and I'm going to stack them on top of each other and go ahead and draw what I need to draw for the rest. And so what I know is that I need to cut them to 37. So I'll make that measurement first, mark that off. And then what I'm going to do is draw out what else I need. So let me change your angle and then show you. All right, I didn't give you much of a different angle, but I did move you a little bit. And one of the things I'm going to do is make sure that I put these wrong sides together, or you could do right sides together, it wouldn't matter. But I want to make sure when I cut them, I get I get a left-handed and a right-handed one, if that makes sense. So I'll just line these up. Perfect. Get them lined up right. Huh. Not quite exactly even, but that's okay. We're going to be fine. So I'm going to come over here and mark off the 20 inches for the short side. And then I'm going to go to the other side and mark off the 37 inches. And then I can go across here and measure out and connect those two. Now, it is right at 37, like I said it was probably going to be. The difference is I know that I want this to be a place for the top and back of the chair. So I'm actually going to bring it out a little and then bring it into that measurement. So that will change the size of this, and I'll go ahead and give it a good measurement later. I am just marking this with my pen there. And so we get that shape. Now, I kind of want to measure that and see how much it's going to be, and I'm just going to use this tool to do. Actually, you know what? I have a fabric measuring tape, and I think I'll use that instead. Kind of give me that measurement. It's not going to be much different than 37. And in fact, it's about 37 and a half. It didn't add a lot to it. So I'm going to go ahead and get my rotary cutter and just go ahead and chop this apart. I'll use the tool for it until I get to the other end where it's going to be nice and curved, and then I'll just do that by hand. There we go. All right, that's 2 pieces done. And then I have this left over for another project, but I don't need it yet. So I'll set it aside. So to be on the safe side on this measurement here, instead of adding 37 and a half, I'll probably add like a couple more inches. I'm gonna go 39 on this. So if I add the 20 and the 39, I get 59. And 37 is 89 plus 7, which is 96. So I need 96 inches times 27. And I'm going to get those out of 2. I'll get 2 out of a 96 inch piece of this black material. So let's get that going. All right, so now that I've actually gotten it cut to a 96 inch width, I'm gonna go ahead and cut that, or sorry, 96 inch length. I'm gonna cut that to 2 27 inch widths. And I folded it up smaller so that I can use a smaller rotary cutter that's a smaller square, so that I can actually get a really controlled cut. So I've put it down to 0 on this side of my board. It's at 0 here. And I'm gonna go to my 27 inch mark and cut that, but I can hold my hand over this entire piece and get a lot more control. And then I double that to 54. 27 times 2 is 54. And now I have my other side, and bam, I've got 2 backs because I'm gonna make more than one of these for my stuff at home, my chairs at home. All right, let's go to the sewing machine and get this started. So I've got my shape set up here for my chair, and that's the top back of the chair, and that's the front of the chair, and here's the base of the chair. So I'm gonna start actually at the front. I think that makes the most sense, sewing this on. And so I have now that big piece of material that's gonna go around. I'm gonna put right sides together, the right sides together, and I'm just gonna start sewing it there, turn the corner, go to the top, and come back down. So let's bring this to the machine this way. And get started. I've put a guide on my machine at 1/4 inch because that's all the seam I think I need for this. I was pretty close. But the guide is going to help me so I don't have any problems as I go through this. And if you have the needle up, needle down function, I like it here just because it keeps me from going off. If when I stop sewing, the machine will stop with the needle into the fabric so I can't accidentally slide anything out. Now, when you're putting the long piece on top of the smaller one, of course, will then have turns that happen in here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of just pay attention to where that is and then sew to it. And then I will take it out of the machine and keep going. Since this is an outdoor project for my house, I'm not terribly worried about any overstitching, meaning right here where I might have stitched past it. Let's see if I can show it to you. Where I might have stitched past it and there's a couple threads, I'm not worried if that even shows. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to flatten that seam open, right? And I'm not going to open the seam toward the back fabric because now it creates this weird shape here. I actually need to sew this to this piece. So by flattening it this way, I can then come in and fold directly on that seam. And now I've created a seam where it rolls over to that. And then I can just start off there. And that line of stitching that I started, see that there, that's now where I'm going to keep stitching. So now I'm basically going up the angled portion that heads from the front arm of the armrest to the top of the chair. Again, I'm just going to make sure that bottom fabric is staying right up next to the guide, and so is the top. Now this is a longer stretch. Remember, the first one was only 20 inches, but this is over 37 inches. So it's almost twice as far in terms of stitching. So don't worry if you're not getting there fast enough. Now the only difference here is, remember, I rounded this material. So I'm gonna have to kind of watch my stitching as that happens and round the material into it from underneath. I know it sounds a little strange. It'll be easier to see when we do the other side because it'll be on top. So now I've done the same thing. I've rounded that over. And now I'm going to go ahead and open it up to where the back side comes down here. And then I'll fold along that to get that stitch. And now we're on the home stretch. And just like I expected, there's going to be some left over here because I knew I was going to go too far because I had added a couple inches. And you'll notice in here I did. I added a couple inches. And so when I go to put on the other side, I'm going to start again from that front, but I'm going to go with the side piece on top rather than the long pieces going over the top. And then that will help because it'll both start at the same position at like a 0 position. So I open this back up. And now I'll bring the piece from before. Let me zoom you out so you can get a little better idea here. So now remember I have my shape. I like that I did a rounded bit because then I know exactly where that is over there. And I'm going to start from this bottom edge. Remember, this is where the front leg goes up to the armrest and over to the back of the chair. So I'm going to start at that point and sew it to the other one. I'm going to put right sides together. The benefit to doing this way is that I can see right where it's coming together. So I literally can see where the pieces come together here. And now I can open that up, remember, with it coming over this way, and then fold right along there and keep going. And in fact, I like to sort of roll it a little bit with my fingers to get it exactly even. It works great. Then I'll just start off of it, and now I can keep going. Without knocking you over, I hope. Now you'll notice this is where it starts to curve away. I'm gonna back you up a little bit so you see a little better. You'll notice this is where it exactly starts to curve away. So I'm gonna hold the bottom piece straight, and I'm going to curve in the top piece as I stitch. See how I'm moving it over as it curves away. And I backstitch to lock it in, and now that piece has been properly done, and now I can finish this. So now I'm just going to find out how much extra I have along the back, and I'll just cut that off. So I'll just draw a line between those two and cut it off. And after I've done that, I'm gonna stitch around the bottom edge. Literally here, I'm just gonna turn up the quarter inch at the bottom edge so that I have a finished edge at the bottom. I don't even really have to have it. I just think it'll make it look nicer. So I wanna make it look good. This material doesn't fray, so it's really not that important. But if I were gonna sell this to someone or give it to a friend, I'd probably make it look a little nicer. You could also put a drawstring in the bottom, or if you wanted to use elastic like the ones that I'm replacing do. It's a long stitch, by the way. All right, so let's see what they look like on my chairs at home. All right, so this is the moment to test it to see how well it works. Remember, the taller side goes in the back. And, yeah, that looks great. In fact, you'll notice it goes all the way to the ground. In fact, I'm gonna back you up to show you a little better. It goes all the way to the ground there. And I think it fits actually pretty well. I might bring the next ones in a little bit, but it's a nice cover. And now I know it's not going anywhere. I could put elastic or something on the bottom, or maybe a drawstring or Velcro, but it would really hold on so much better than that one that had ripped and tore up. So yeah, that is my chair cover for my outdoor furniture. I hope you enjoyed this episode, or this video, where I don't know, it's not really an episode. Enjoyed watching it and figuring out how you can do this for your own chairs. Remember, just plug in those numbers into that sort of formula thing that I showed you, and you can figure out how to do it. And until next time, stay crafty. Bye for now. The only thing is it's black. Maybe I should have gone with a lighter color. It's not gonna work well in Florida.